Hello YouTubies, yes, you read the video title and you've heard the theme song. 5 Minute React is back. So no, with the end of Doctor Who Series 10, I have not killed off 5 Minute React. No way, I'm still going to be doing reactions to episodes of various TV show episodes. And not just Doctor Who, I am doing Doctor Who today, but I'm thinking of possibly in the future expanding 5 Minute React to talk about other shows as well. I'm particularly keen to do a couple of British comedies. In mind, I'm thinking of maybe either One Foot in the Grave, Only Fools and Horses, or The Vicar of Dibley as my feast of 5 Minute Reacts. But today though, we are still doing Doctor Who, but we're doing classic series as we talk about the Dalek invasion of Earth from 1964, starring William Hartnell, and features who obviously was the first Doctor, and features companions Susan, Ian and Barbara. Now, sorry, yes, I am eating a mint, that's why I'm maybe a bit odd, but anyway, I've got my timer up on the screen, so it's time to talk about the Dalek invasion of Earth. Okay, so Dalek Invasion of Earth. This is my today was my second viewing of the story, having bought after having bought the DVD. It's not my favourite Dalek story, I'll say that. I don't think it's the best story that Terry Nation has written. It is 6 episodes, 6 25-minute episodes, and I have to admit, I felt like it was too long. I mean, obviously, you know, there have been longer Doctor Who stories. The reason I feel it was too long is because I felt like the Dalek Invasion of Earth was a story that was very, very slow-paced for 5 episodes, and then suddenly has a really rushed ending in episode 6. Sort of all of the really interesting action and happens in sort of that last episode, and I feel that it really took me a while to get into it. I mean, obviously you had the ambush on the Dalek ship in, I think, episode 2, or it's either episode 2 or episode 3, I'm not sure, and you had the scene with the guy in the wheelchair through London. That was an entertaining, that was actually a pretty entertaining scene. But other than that, there were some parts of this story that felt very long-winded, and very, and sort of felt like it was a bit slow, and there were some points when I was sort of thinking, you know, I was maybe checking Facebook on my phone or something while I waited for that scene to play out. So it wasn't as good on that front, that it was a bit slow and it was a rushed ending. You know, I don't think it's until episode 5 that we even, or possibly even episode 6 itself, that we find out what the Daleks are actually on Earth for. But I do have some good things to say about the episode. Firstly, I thought it was a really clever idea for the Doctor and his companions to have arrived after the invasion has already taken place. You know, they're not there 1 minute and boom, next thing you know, there's a massive invasion. This time they've arrived and the invasion has already happened. The Earth has already been half destroyed, and all they have to do is prevent the Daleks from making a bad situation even worse. And I like the idea of there being a plague and then the Daleks coming in whilst humanity was at its weakest. I thought that was very, very clever, and there were some very, very clever plot points in this story such as that, so it wasn't all bad. I thought the acting was fantastic. That said, I mean, I'm not a huge First Doctor fan. Well, that is I'm not as big a fan of William Hartnell's Doctor in his earlier years. So in his earlier years, when he was sort of very grumpy, and that, I just don't prefer that. But that's not a problem with the story. It's just a personal thing. So that's not really an issue with the story itself. This story was broadcast in 1964, and it was the second appearance of the Daleks. I have to admit, I wasn't so keen on the Dalek voice, because there were a couple of moments when when one or two of the Daleks spoke with a different voice, and it sounded fantastic. But most of the Daleks didn't use that voice, and it was a little disappointing because they had this really awesome Dalek voice that they hardly ever used, and that's a real shame. But I will say, I've got a minute to go. The Dalek Invasion of Earth, it's definitely worth a watch. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, this is the episode that has Susan's departure, where they is forced departure by the Doctor, and has that really famous William Hartnell speech. Where he goes, "One day I shall come back." You know, which is one of the most memorable moments in Doctor Who history, and you know, you've got to just love that scene. It was fantastic, and it's very well acted, I thought, and it looks great as well. You know, this episode is set in the middle of London. They had huge sets, very well shot. You know, just because something is in black and white doesn't mean it's bad. You know, it's a great story, and the Daleks were really good in this story as well. They certainly came across as threatening, and that was the point. The Robomen, they kind of reminded me of Cybermen, which is odd when you consider that in 1964 the Cybermen weren't around yet. They didn't come along till 66, but they did remind me of them. I wonder if that's where they got the inspiration from. I don't know. Anyway, my time has run out, so I'm not allowed to say anything else now. I'm just allowed to give a brief summary. So, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, great story. Is it Terry Nation's finest? I don't think so, but it's certainly worth a watch. And the ending is a bit of a cop-out, and it's a rushed ending, but it's still worth it. It's just about worth wading through some of the long-winded bits to get to the ending, and there are some really great action scenes throughout, as I mentioned, and it's worth a watch. You know, if I'd say at least watch it once. You know, watch it at least once. Borrow a copy of the DVD off your mate or something. Give it a watch and decide for yourself if you like it. It's a great story, and it was certainly good for the Daleks, and which is what the Daleks needed if they were going to make a comeback. And it's certainly stories like this that have helped the Daleks cement themselves as the villain of Doctor Who, the primary villain. And it's thanks to stories like this, though, that we still have the Daleks in Doctor Who to this day. So basically, to sum it up in one sentence, it's a good story. It's not a great story. It's not an amazing story, but it's a good story. And being good is good enough. And so yeah, definitely give it a watch. You know, I reckon you'll enjoy it. You know, I may have talked it down a bit, but that's only because it gets a bit long-winded and a rushed ending. But apart from that fact, it is good in every other respect. So definitely give the Dalek Invasion of Earth a watch if you ever get a chance. And that's it for this time, guys, and I'll see you next time.